Is it okay to expose your friend's boyfriend's shady past? I've been friends with this woman since we were 16. We're both 30 now, and she's got 2 young kids. She recently started dating some guy she met on TikTok who lives in another state. They only met in person for the first time last weekend, but she's already talking about having him move here and live with her and the kids. I asked her about him early on, and she refused to give me his real name, just referring to him by some stage name because he's apparently in a band. I've known my friend long enough to recognize when she's trying to hide something from me. She only does that when she knows she's wrong and is avoiding getting called out for it. So, I started digging. A few things she told me raised red flags. He claims to be a paramedic in New Mexico, has 6 kids with 2 women ranging from 15 years old to 9 months old, but says he has no contact with any of them because his exes are crazy. And then there's the fact that she's only met him once in person, but is already talking about marriage and moving in together. Because this situation felt serious, I decided to look him up. After piecing together some information from his social media, I found his legal name. Then I found public court records showing he'd been charged with first-degree murder in New Mexico after a shooting during an argument. He ended up pleading down to voluntary manslaughter and spent 8 years in prison. I also checked the New Mexico EMS license lookup and couldn't find any record of him being a paramedic. When I brought all this up to her, she said the case was self-defense and told me not to judge him for his past. I wasn't judging his past as much as I was worried about how quickly everything was moving and the things that weren't adding up. She claimed there were no witnesses, but the court records say otherwise. The conversation got heated, and she insisted everything was fine. At that point, I was honestly worried about the kids potentially being moved into a situation with someone she's only met once in person whose story doesn't seem to line up. Because of that, I told her 2 sisters and the fathers of her kids what I found so they could at least be aware of the situation. Now she's furious and says I betrayed her and went behind her back. Maybe I overstepped, but because children could potentially be involved in moving into this situation, I felt like staying quiet would have been irresponsible. I know people can change for the better, but given my friend's track record of awful taste in men and the fact she has 2 young kids she's exposing to anyone she dates, it's just not worth the risk. She seems determined to screw herself up, but I had to draw the line for the kids, even if it means losing my lifelong friend.